All right, everybody. Welcome to the Three Alarm Comics Shared Universe podcast here. We are starting off with Miss Amy Tucci from Pressing Matters. But you know what? Before we get started, we'll let a few people come on and do our thing. And I'm just going to start off with a little thing here, which you normally start off with. So give me about 30 seconds and let's do this. All right, welcome once again to the Three Alarm Comics podcast in association with a shared universe. Oh my God, we have the couple, and these people I really want to introduce to everybody who is tuning in. You're looking along with me, Darren and Amy Tucci. These are the guys responsible for Pressing Matters LLC. If you've come in the shop, if you come through, you've talked to us, you realize that these are the people who you've been sending your stuff to. Quite honestly, these are the best people I send my own personal stuff to. This is who you send your stuff to get pressed, to get clean before you send it into CGC, or if you just want your stuff to look a little bit better. Pressing Matters LLC, this is the people to go to. Amy, Darren, thank you. Welcome for coming.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
And let everybody know we kind of advertise too. Ming is going to be a little bit late as usual, but we're kind of here starting off. I wanted to talk about Free Comic Book Day, but also Ming and I will be coming up to Buffalo, New York, where you two are,
right?
And we will be making an appearance. Well, I say we. I'll be bringing somebody with me who'll be making an appearance. I'm just going to show up and have a good time. But you two have a great little event going on up there, the Decepticon up in Tonawanda.
That's right. This will be the third one that we've had. The first one we had, the idea was it was during the height of COVID in 2020, and there had been only a couple of cons that came off, and it was just dead. Nobody was doing any shows, and we figured let's get it out there and have a show because everybody's dying for one. So I thought, well, we'll use the cheeky name of Decepticon because we wanted it to be deceptive. Because Governor Cuomo was shutting everything down. He didn't want to have masses over 50. People it had to be outdoors. We had to have things like this going on. So we chose to call it Decepticon because we wanted to deceive Cuomo. I hope he's not listening. And actually, it came off really well. We brought together 5 dealers, comics and toys, had it on the grounds of my own house, had it like a garage sale, and we saw, I think, about 250, 300 people that day. And I thought, well, the hunger's out there, so let's keep satisfying this. So there were many people after the first one. And I was going to do it as a one and done. I just figured it was going to be one big event. And a lot of people were coming up to me at other cons and saying, hey, you know what? Well, you're going to have another one. So I thought, let's do another one. So we had it in June of this year. There were a couple of cons before ours. It was still fairly a good turnout. But then I thought, the old blueprint of just having 5 dealers, having cosplay and whatnot there, it's a cool idea, but I wanted to amp it up a little bit, and I wanted to do something a little more special, especially for a small con like what we have, which is really like a mini con. So we're opening it up now to more artists. We're going to have many more dealers. My neighbor told me we could use part of his property, so we're probably, right now I think we have 6 or 7 dealers signed on now, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to really go all out. And first person we approached was Ming Chen and said, hey, you've always been wanting to come down to Buffalo, and he agreed to it immediately. So we figured we had him. But then I thought, back in the day, in the early 70s, there was a fantastic con in Buffalo, and they had Gil Kane, they had Frazetta, they had really, really good artists. I remember as a kid always loving the fact that, the Silver Age and the Bronze Age books, the artists that were out at the time in the Marvel bullpen were always people I wanted to meet. So I thought, I want to get a big name here because we don't get a ton of them. So, you and I had gone through a number of names, and we came upon Mike Grell, and we said, he's fairly egregious to all this, and he's last time he was here, he did fantastic. People loved him, and I thought, hey, let's bring him back. So with your help, we got Mike Grell to agree. And what I wanted to do was, my show is a one-day show, and to bring big names like Ming Chen and Mike Grell here, I think I would underserve them and I would underserve the community. So I figured I'm going to give the fans 2 chances to see Mike and Ming. So I reached out to a local comic shop called 3D Comics in Buffalo, in Lancaster. Yep. And Joel and Ish, the best guys in the world. I told them my idea, and they said, oh, we would love to have them here. So we're on August 27th, which is Friday, from 12 to 5. We're going to have Mike Grell and Ming Chen there featured, signing autographs, meeting, greeting, having fun, podcasting. And then I said, all right, well, now we'll have the second day is Decepticon, which will be Saturday, August 28th. And that'll run from 10 to 4. So if anybody was working on that Friday that couldn't get off to see Mike Grell or Ming Chen, can now catch them on Saturday.
Which actually, I'm gonna go a little further into it. Yeah, but there's a lot more into this than you actually made it sound easy. I thought we had actually talked first, and we had talked about having a good friend of mine who actually lives with me, a guy by the name of Mitch Bird.
Right.
Mitch is an incredible artist. Unfortunately, Mitch is just one of those people that just does not like to travel. You mentioned airplane, and he just runs the opposite way. I get people contacting us all the time about getting commissions from him, which, by the way, if you want to get a commission from Mitch Bird, you can contact us here at 3alarmcomics@gmail.com. You can still get commissions from him, but Mitch is he's your traditional real artist. He's very a little different, very inclusive. He like I said, when I talked to him, he was like, well, I've got some other projects coming up and I just really don't want to fly. And then, like I said, you talked to me about getting Mike. And quite honestly, like I said, Mike started off as an iconic person to me, somebody I grew up with, just an incredible individual, incredible talent, just somebody who, for me, was the hero for my age. And for me growing up, being a big Legion fan, a big Green Lantern fan, Green Arrow fan, he was just like the person for it. And over the years, it just so happened I got to know Mike very well, where Mike is actually part of our family. There you go, drinking beer. Thank you. Thank you. I'll have to leave for a second to grab another one. But
sponsored by Molson.
but I mean, honestly, this type of industry is one of those things where it's not about what you know, it's about who you know.
Right.
And, I've been lucky enough to get to be able to call Mike part of my family. And when you contacted me and I said, well, we could always do a few other ones. We have Mike Grell, and you jumped on Mike Grell. You thought that was great.
Yes, absolutely.
And, fortunately enough, Mike was free that weekend from doing shows, everything else. So quite honestly, I as much as I love Mitch, don't get me wrong, he's my roommate, love him to death, great guy. You traded up.
We got to think about this too. We really never took into account. Along our short list of names, we had forgotten that. Look, we're already more than halfway through the year. And you got to remember, once the restrictions for COVID travel and whatnot started lessening and cons started getting on a roll, all these artists that we were talking about were getting booked up. So, here we are halfway through the year and we're thinking, hey, let me see if I can pull this guy out for a weekend. We got lucky with Mike because he could have been at any one of 50 cons,
Absolutely.
So we lucked out, very much so.
Well, I mean, I'm lucky enough to, like I said, to call Mike a like I said, not even just a friend, a part of our family.
Right.
So I'm lucky enough to be able to call Mike up and say, hey, can you do this? And he said, as happenstance made it. He was free that weekend and he had nothing else planned. And he would love to come up to New York. He's loving to come and meet his fans. He's loving to come meet the people. And also, actually, I messaged Mike a little bit earlier to try to get him as a part of the stream, but he has some prior engagements that he has to do. So We're going to try. I can't guarantee it, but if you two are available, we're going to try to do this again tomorrow and bring Mike on as well.
Heck yeah.
And
Absolutely.
get him to come on to promote his appearance up there in the Tonawanda area to allow people to talk to him, ask some questions, maybe get a little precursor. But the one big thing is I really want to make known to everybody else is I know you've been putting it out as well, but Mike does pre-commissions as well.
Right.
I think the cutoff date will be 2 weeks before the event. So, and the one thing I want to impress on anybody who's watching, listening, who might be, be coming up there is, I know everybody's a little bit hesitant or scared to do pre-commissions, but Mike is coming. And the one thing I can tell anybody, and one thing I try to, even like we're doing a free comic book day very soon, where we have a lot of guests, which I try to impress on everybody, is when you can get a commission when they're sitting at home working with all of their equipment, working at a table they know well, where they're sitting there comfortable rather than sitting in a chair they're not comfortable with and a flat table they're not comfortable with. I will tell you right now, 99% of the time, you will get a much better piece than showing up at the show and saying, hey, will you do me Green Arrow? Will you do me Sable? Will you do me Warlord? Now, granted, you're still going to get a beautiful piece regardless.
Right.
But when they can work on it in the comfort of their own home and the comfort of their own studio, you will always get a much better piece if you pre-commission and get that stuff done ahead of time.
Very good point. And it's a
I'm sorry. We have a buddy of mine just came in. Somebody else who would love to get up there, Mr. Pat Broderick.
Oh yeah,
yes, Pat. Damn, it is live. Anybody who's been around, for any period of time in the comic industry, who's read comics, love Pat to death. Him and his wife, some of the sweetest people you ever meet. Love you to death, Pat. I'll give you a call after this. So in the future, that's somebody else you could have very well part of what you're wanting to do with Decepticon. I happen to know Pat's number. I could give Pat a call at any given time, and we can make sure stuff happens up in New York. I know Pat likes to be up there. Awesome. You know what, Pat? You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and send you a link to the live stream. If you would like to be a part of it, come on in, come have fun. Just come talk and enjoy yourself. I'm sure Amy and Darren won't mind.
Oh, no, not at all. Actually, just to cut you off, I got to go downstairs and I got to flip a book. I'm pressing right now. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
All right. All right, Pat. If you want to come in and join, ladies and gentlemen, that's Mr. Pat Broderick. If you haven't read a comic in the past 30 years, I guarantee you this gentleman has done most of them. So, Pat, I've sent you a link. If you want to join in, come join us. Have fun. Just talk shit. I'm sorry. I know.
Did you say stunt double?
Oh,
Hi.
there we go.
You remember
we have another guest come in. I'm going to let you introduce her while I walk away and give me a drink for a second.
Yes. This is my Ghostbuster best friend, partner in crime, and cosplay extraordinaire, Laura Crandall, with the Ghostbuster 716, who will be joining us on Decepticon Day.
Yes.
To hang out and
I don't know if I'll be a Ghostbuster or if I'll be the Agatha to your Wanda, or we haven't got that far yet.
Yes, there will be cosplay also at Decepticon.
But I will be there. So.
Actually, Pat chimed in visually. Oh, hell no. Come on, Pat. You're a pretty son of a bitch. Come on in. You need to be a part of this.
I just got home from a very long charity event. If I can be here, anyone can be here.
See, Pat, you and Miss Patricia need to come join us, have a good time. Actually, after seeing his last picture, I forget what show he's being at, it showed him mean mugging like crazy. I'm like, that's not the Pat I know. The Pat I know smiles and has a great time. That sucker looks mean. So, Pat, you need to really change your whatever you're sitting out for promotion, everything else. That one look you look like you wanted to kill somebody.
That's terrible.
Scott, I was just thinking about it. Your Rolodex for people you know must be like super thick.
I mean, there are a couple names in there that I wouldn't mind stealing those cards.
I know.
I can name at least one in particular. So.
Honestly, quite honestly, I have been very lucky to actually meet some very good people, and throughout my years in the industry, I've actually met some incredible people that I actually consider not only friends, but part of our family, which includes you and Darren. We've actually, gone out and done a lot of people done professionally shot. Pat, come on. You know what, Pat, that picture was mean as hell. You wanted to, like a mug shot. Like it should have like lines behind it with like height stuff. You're a mass murderer. But but no, seriously, I have actually got to meet a lot of great people like Pat, like his wife, Miss Patricia, like Mike Grell and his wife, Mary. I've had the opportunity to meet some wonderful people. And like I said, I've actually got to the point where like I said, they're not even friends anymore. They're family, which I tell people all the time, friends can argue and never talk again. Family can argue and you still have to deal with each other. That's what these people are.
Yeah.
And, and honestly, like I said, I consider you and Darren the same way. You know what? Even though we've never had an argument before, we could still get along. Everything's great, fine. I just really want to make sure that everybody knows that as far as the industry goes, show up, meet these people, have a great time, get to know them. Like I said, you have no idea what it's going to be like in order to meet these people. There's people who I've idolized before, like Pat, like Mike, who I grew up with and completely idolized. Those two guys are some of the first people I could ever honestly say that I recognized their art style before I recognized the name. And these guys are heroes of mine. They're icons of mine. And I am just lucky enough to actually really get to know them as people. And I actually like them better as people than I do as artists.
Yeah, very good.
I'm totally jealous, and I can't wait to meet you.
Honestly, once you meet me, you'll be sorely disappointed.
Okay, that's fair. But get a free drink sent him. He's real fun.
I'll buy the first round.
Well, I mean, that's one of the biggest things when you do stuff like this. You have to realize that this is actually as broad as a lot of people think it is. It's actually a very small community of people, and your name is also made off of how you treat people, and that's my biggest thing. Is I've always said, we don't treat people like guests. We treat people like family. Family can argue and disagree and still get along, but you're still family.
Right.
So
where's Ming?
Well, actually, Ming said he's going to be about 15 minutes late, which he's already about 3 minutes late after that. But that's
So about 20 minutes?
That's Ming in a nutshell. You know what? That honestly, that is probably the hardest working man in the industry. Who, one of the funniest things is I can say he's taken his, even though Comic Book Ben was on for 6 years, 7 years, he's taken his 15 minutes of fame and has actually transferred it into a brand on his own.
Right.
He's made it on himself. He honestly, most of his stuff is really off of his personality and the way he does things, the way he treats people. So you know what, Bing can be a few minutes late. I'm okay with it. I'm still going to give him shit, but we're still gonna you got to give it to the guy. This is, like I said, you bring up any show. The only time Ming is not going to be there is if he's booked somewhere else. So yeah, let's bring some stuff up. Yes, Ming is awesome. He was at Pensacon. His enthusiasm is infectious, and his tolerance is even better than that. We've got Mr. Christopher Hewitt. Chris actually tunes into anything dealing with any USQ universe stuff whatsoever, and actually Chris happens to be one of our local guys, local around here. Thank you. Nice comic book wall. So Darren, if you're ever willing, we have a nice first appearance of Terry McGinnis.
Oh,
we have a couple of first Modocs here. We got 3 copies of Iron Man Submariner. It's out of frame over there. We have a Captain America 100. That's one of the biggest things is always go into your local comic shop, whether it be here, whether it be 3D Comics, whether it be going to Decepticon. check them out. There might be always that one thing that you cannot find anywhere else. And you know what? Actually, I just had a question come up from a friend of mine, John G. I'm going to bring it up. And Darren, I'm going to leave this one up to you, but can you briefly describe the press process? I have explained this to people numerous times. I've shown them the pictures of what you did for our Aquaman 35. But you know what? I'm going to leave this to you from here on out.
All right. So the press process essentially is you're taking a book that you're, a raw book. You're looking it over for any defects. So you want to get an idea of the lay of the land and what you'll be able to fix and what you won't be able to, because you want to be realistic about your expectations. Now you got to check everything inside and out, because when you start to press, physics works where if you press down, there's an equal force pressing up, but it's also pressing out towards the spine and towards the open end of the book. So if you're not careful and you don't check these things beforehand, you can actually pop a staple. You can impact the corner or spine of a book. So you want to be sure to go over these things fairly intrinsically. Then what you do is you want to dry clean the book, because if you just start throwing them in the press and start baking the books, you're going to bake dirt into the book. You don't want to do that. So you want to use all the means necessary, dry or wet, or both, to get rid of any surface dirt, anything that you can do to make it look that much better. Bring back the sheen, bring the whites back so that if they're popping, and any other colors that you might be able to get some dirt off, that's when you want to do it, is the first time. Now, most books, with the exception of anything from about 2010, 2011, that are, the new books that come, that the inside pages are very much like magazine stock. They're glossy, they're thinner. Those books you generally want to put into a humidification device. And depending on your experience, there's a certain amount of time, certain amount of humidity that you want to keep these books in, so it re-energizes the fibers. The one thing you don't want to do is stick a dry book into a press, because again, if it's brittle, you're going to destroy the book. So once it's properly humidified, then you bring it downstairs or wherever it is that you press. I happen to press downstairs. And there are certain defects that you can't get out from a press that you need to do by hand. So you treat those first, then you go and you do the press. And again, this isn't a one and done deal, and it isn't, one. You can't assume that one book you're going to do the same way for every other book, because gold is different from bronze, it's just different from silver, different from modern. So you use the proper heat, use the proper amount of time, and you press the books, and then you reevaluate. Now, because I'm an eye doctor, I'm very fastidious on the smallest of defects, and I'm to the point where I can drive myself insane trying to rid the book of any defect possible.
Well, I know.
Like as you know through that Aquaman,
Anybody that wants to come through, ask me to show you the pictures that he did for my book. I have shown them to probably 1,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And I'll tell you right now, the first 3 pictures, you're like, okay, well, whatever. Then you get to the rest of the 35,
right?
And you look at it, you're like, oh my God. And one of the things you're actually kind of glossing over here is what you do is not considered restoration.
Correct.
Everything you're doing is actually considered conservatorship.
That's exactly right. There's always arguments from any collection medium, whether it's cards or coins or whatnot, and everybody says you want to keep things to as much as the original as possible. And if you start adding things to a book, then that's starting to be considered restoration. But what you're doing, what my job is to remove anything that was not there originally. But even still, you can have bindery defects where a book was stapled properly, but when it was folded improperly. So it looks like the cover's traveling when in fact they just folded it the wrong way. Even still, these are things that can be turned around. It's not that you're adding anything to it. You're not adding rice paper to it to fill in any holes. You're not using a black marker to add color or blackness to anything that was lost. You're just essentially taking the age and the defect off of the book and making it look like the first day it was put on the spindle or on the magazine rack. So it very much is not restoration. Now, you're always going to find a sector of the market out there that's going to argue day is night, and say, no, you are restoring. And it's, there's always going to be those fringe dwellers. But
Well, that's
it
like
really
you're not using any chemicals. You're not using any
Right.
wet compounds. You are actually everything that you are doing. And I'm sorry to interject on here.
No, it's okay. That's
But I
okay.
really want to make people understand that everything you are doing is not a restoration to the book. It is actually, if anything, you are taking away any in the ways that you do it. We're not going to go into that because that's your own special process to do it. But you're actually taking away the age, the defects, the markings, as long as it's not a pin marking.
Right.
You are actually enhancing the book without restoring the book.
That's exactly right. You're turning the pages, no pun intended, but you're turning time back to the time when you originally purchased the book. You're bringing it back to that original gloss, the original luster, the original flatness, the everything that the medium is very visual. It's very tactile. We've often said as a comic collector, if you don't like that smell of the comic, you have no business being a comic collector. But you as you know yourself, being in the business for 30 some odd years, when you look at a book and when this book is beautiful, it's flat, it's shiny, the gloss is there, there's minimal spine dings, the corners are sharp, the edges are flat. These are the things that people, aside from the artwork, these are the things that people look at that really love the book.
Well, and a lot of people don't even understand. And I tell people this all the time, but even a brand new book, as soon as we open up the box and bring it out of the case it comes in and put up on the wall for sale, I tell people all the time, say we get 2,000 books a week, which is probably about right on average.
Okay.
Out of those 2,000 books, the majority of them are about a 9.2 to a 9.4.
Correct.
You get a handful of 9.6, and out of 2,000 books, I maybe get one or two that would classify as a 9.8.
Right.
But you take even these newer books. Like I said, I'm going to have to post these pictures online with your permission if you don't.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
I really do, because it was an Aquaman 35 that I sent in, which is the first Black Mana, which I actually picked up at Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash while we were all up in New Jersey.
The first sale of the day. The first sale.
Yes,
of the
I bought actually the new Secret Stash. I was the first purchase. Thank you very much. But no, the biggest thing is honestly, I that was the first time I had met you two. We had talked numerous times. First time I met you two, but it was actually. Oh, let me bring Ming in right quick.
Hey!
But actually, it was the first time I had met you two. We all got along great, but I trusted you two enough to send back this book with you. And quite honestly, I mean, I know you all sent it off to CGC. We're still waiting for it to come back. My opinion, it was probably about a 6.5 to 7.0 when I bought it. I'm actually really expecting an 8.5 coming back, because I'll tell you right now, the pictures between what it started off with, between what it was just absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. It shined up really nice, flattened out really nice. That's the beauty of Silver Age books too. Because it's paper stock, when you add moisture to it, when you press it, sometimes, unless it was kept in an attic or a basement.
Ming's trying to get all fancy.
Well, he's closing the drapes. Now he's getting the mood lighting on. Silver Age books actually take the pressing very well, and they hold on to it real well.
Well, they've got that traditional newsprint.
Yes. Now I'll tell you what. Bringing it back to what you were saying about when you open a box, I don't know if it's because of Diamond or whatever other distributors, or even just the fact that it's thinner paper with a lot of gloss. Most new books that come in already have waves. It's unbelievable. I mean, I come from a time when I was buying books in the early 70s. Where if it wasn't bent on the spinner rack, this thing was a 9.6 or a 9.8.
Well,
now they're
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you right now. That was one of the biggest things, is the fact that where we're at, we have a high humidity area. So
yes.
Even just putting the books on the rack and let them sit for a day, like we got our new stuff in today.
Right.
They're available for sale tomorrow. From the time we unbox the stuff, put it on the rack, the humidity alone is going to give it a little bit of a wave.
Exactly.
There's humidity in Biloxi? Really?
Ming Chen, ladies and gentlemen.
You've been here more than once.
I have, and the only way I can survive is by drinking a lot of Barks root beer. So
And the best part is the Barks root beer plant is right up the road.
Yeah,
Aha,
great.
nice.
Great. Sorry I'm late, guys.
Darren, I'm
That's
going to let
cool,
you know. John, who asked the question earlier, said you explained it very well. Devin, sounds like you know what you're doing. And John, I will tell you this, and anybody else listening, I've sent my books off to numerous places to get them pressed and cleaned. Everywhere else, Darren and Amy with Pressing Matters LLC is the place I always go to from here on out.
They're the
Since
best.
I've met them, like I said, I trusted them with a valuable book to begin with. I was more than happy, and quite honestly, they should be charging a lot more than what they do. So take advantage of it now before the prices go up. If you have a book you want to have sent off, please contact these guys. If I have plenty of their cards still here, I will actually post it along with some of the pictures from the Aquaman 35, which I bought from the Secret Stash. I'll post the information to get in touch with them tomorrow. These guys are incredible. They're Ming will testify to that too. You sent some of your books off as well.
I did. I got 3 of them back this week. I didn't even know I had them. They got sent to the store, and finally Mike was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, these came in for you." Well, thanks, jerk. They came. I was pretty happy with the grades though. So the Dark Phoenix Saga books from Uncanny X-Men. And,
actually, Preston said the weather has moods down here, but we did have a question from Josh Booth.
Oh yeah.
Can you press a book with a signature?
Yes. The only time you don't want to press a book with a signature is if they use anything with a water-soluble marker. But you know how the day and age is now where everybody uses Sharpies. So, yes, you can. Now, there's certain caveats that you got to be careful with. You have books that have, and I'm probably going to forget the terminology, that are embossed, okay? You feel them. It's almost like Braille. You can feel them. You can feel like, Captain America's pecs or whatever. And also gloss books or metallic covers. You got to be really careful about those, not because of the signature on them, but because if you press them at too high of a heat or too tight of a pressure, the embossing is going to be flattened, and the metallic texture to it, the foil.
Well, not only that, but like the hologram covers have little holograms on them.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you apply heat to them, that's a plastic that tends to be warped.
That's exactly right. So you got to be real careful with that. But as far as if it's written with a Sharpie, yes, you can press it. It's nothing to worry about.
Well, I will tell you this: now that Ming is here, we could make the. I know you kind of made a little announcements here and there.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going to leave it up to you two. And Ming himself, but there is an appearance coming up that I am actually happy to be able to attend. Bringing a good friend of mine with me. So you know what? I'm going to leave it to Darren, you and Amy and Ming to talk about it for a second, and while I go to the bathroom.
Oh, all right. It's all an excuse to do that.
See, what used to happen was when I was a DJ, we used to put on like one of the sides of a Pink Floyd album.
Right, and just leave it.
So, go ahead, Ming. I've been yapping so long, so why don't you give us a little update on like when you're heading into town and where you're going to be?
Well, I think it's been announced already. August 27th, that's a Friday. I will be appearing at 3D Comics, correct?
Correct.
3D Comics. And what town is that? I mean, it's near Buffalo, but what?
It's in Lancaster, New York.
Lancaster, New York. And I didn't know the impact that this store had on the area, but when people found out I got inundated with messages going, "Ming, are you coming to 3D Comics?" And like, I was like, yeah, I've never been there, but sounds like they're it's a great place. And I had no idea the impact that it's had on the area. So I am honored to attend. I'll be driving down early so I can fill up on Duff's and Ted's hot dogs.
There you go.
We just had Duff's last night and thought of you, man.
That's right.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, there's numerous places in the area, of course, but I can't wait to hit all of them. I refound the name of the dive bar I went to like 6 years ago. I still can't remember. I can never remember the name of the place, but it was. I think you sent me a list, and it's definitely on one of them. So
okay.
Yeah,
We're gonna keep you going, man. You're gonna. I mean, you're the Energizer Bunny, anyways. We're probably gonna peter out before you.
Oh yeah, I'll be out. So if you're in Buffalo, and you want to hang out, definitely come to 3D Comics, hang out with me, and then the next day I think you teased an announcement the next day, but the first one, it's not just gonna be me because that's no fun. I don't like doing these things by myself.
Wait, hold on, no. They can buy pictures from you in a Speedo.
That's right.
They can. Now
right.
And I won't be alone though. Not in the Speedo. I'll be alone in the Speedo, but
you know what? We might have to change that before it's over with.
Yeah, but comic book legend Mike Grell will be appearing along with me, which is
that's right.
Awesome.
Now you know what's interesting, Ming, is that it's going to be the Ming and Mike show, but it's not the Mike that we're so used to.
Right.
So you're saying you're going to have all the podcast stuff ready to go, so we can still have the Ming and Mike show.
We can, legally, yes,
exactly.
Legally, we can. So, I love Mike. I've seen him at numerous cons. We've podcasted with him. He's got a million stories. He's a comic book creator and legend, and and I don't know how often he gets to the Northwest New York area. Probably not often, I imagine. So this is your chance. This is your chance to meet definitely a comic book legend.
And what's going to be cool about Decepticon 3 that I talked about briefly is it's at a house, and I think the audacity that I had to bring you in, to bring Mike in. And I said I wanted to make sure it was a 2-day event to have it like in a proper comic shop. But I think people are going to get their minds blown, especially those who don't maybe frequent the internet or, when they come to a Comic-Con, it's going to be a mini con at a house. Hot dogs are going to be roasting.
Yeah.
He'll be walking around in his little.
We'll be sleeping on the couch in the basement.
Yeah.
And it's going to be laid back. You go into a backyard and you're going to meet Mike Grell and Ming Chen. People's minds are going to get blown. It's a laid back affair, and that's what the beauty of comic books are.
Now,
it's a celebration, man.
From the heat and humidity down here, what's the temperature like up there? I'm going to stay outside and kind of be Mike and Ming's handler while we're there. Oh,
it's going to be if it's the end of August, it's still warm. Because it is Buffalo. So
yeah, but there's warm and there's humidity warm. Like we're like 95 degrees with like 85% humidity.
It's probably going to be more in the mid 80s with a little bit of humidity. So.
Oh, God. I might have to wear a jacket.
Oh, jeez. How about you, Ming? What are you going to be wearing? You're not bringing the Speedo, are you?
No, I mean, I'm picturing backyard, like, maybe we each get our own, like, kiddie pool, maybe. We can chill out in that. I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be some great, Buffalo beer around, some Tennessee, maybe, or, whatever.
Get that down.
Well, and I will tell you this. I know Ming is a big fan of this, just from the one Ming personally, is everything else. But it's not very well known, but I have watched Mike Grell go sing karaoke.
Oh, yes. We have a place. There is a place that we all went to for karaoke. Friday nights. So
I will tell you this. Mike has been more than well known to go up and sing a little Mac the Knife or
wow.
Yeah. He's I have video which I can't show anybody, but but I can tell you right now, if there's a place to go out and have a few drinks and enjoy ourselves and karaoke happens to be going on, I can guarantee you, if you ever want to see Mike Grell sing karaoke or Ming Chen sing karaoke, which quite honestly, if you've known Ming or met him more than once, you've seen him do karaoke. But
he breaks into song. He doesn't need karaoke.
Honestly, this is the weird part. Is actually this is how Ming and I actually bonded, was over a karaoke song.
Yeah.
I had met Ming a few times and kind of known him here and there, but where we actually kind of really started forming a relationship was really started out over a karaoke song.
Yeah, karaoke brings people together.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing.
Which, oddly enough, Ming actually knew the drummer for the band, and now I've gotten to know very well. So, it's one of those weird things where life seems to happen in some crazy ways. And, one of my favorite go-to karaoke songs ended up being one of his. And, through him, now I know the drummer for the band.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, don't tease everyone, Scott. She asked, what was the song that
All right. Somebody
together?
actually asked. They even asked what was the song. The song was actually it's called "The Promise" from a band called When in Rome,
Yeah, they played at
and
the end of Napoleon Dynamite. I think everybody knows it, and it's a classic.
it's an
80s song.
iconic '80s song.
Yes.
And the best part is throughout it all is the guy who is the drummer now owns his own business. Who, he does nothing more than travel around with a lot of '80s bands, and through Ming, actually that was the funny thing was probably about 2 weeks after we finally hit it off and everything else. He's sending me pictures where he's backstage where they're up there singing the song that we had just sang 2 weeks earlier in karaoke.
Yeah.
And
Now they tour around with 80s bands and they put on concerts. So me and Mike went to one. We were backstage like, hey, here, gentlemen, can I introduce you to Oingo Boingo and Flock of Seagulls? And I'm like, wow, this is cool. So it was like our 80s, heroes come to life on one, and they'll rotate and play a couple songs, and it's a great night. So
oh yeah, it's like Bananarama,
yeah,
like all these great. And I don't want to put it like this, but really a lot of one-hit wonders from the '80s.
sure. Oh, they
But they're so well known for the hits they've done.
Yeah.
And Rob, I'll name him Rob Juarez.
Yeah, Juarez.
Rob is through Ming got in touch with Rob, and even now they said they're supposed to be they're just now be able to get started doing their tours again.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be showing up in New Orleans, and Rob even told me, I said, hey, yeah, I was like, hey, we let me know when you're coming. We'll buy tickets. He's like, no, donate money to this charity and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally take him up on that.
I will. After talking to you and seeing that the fact that the tickets we'll be getting is not like VIP tickets, they're like backstage green room tickets. Yeah.
You can sit there and eat cheddar cheese with Flock of Seagulls, man. It's cool.
We'll be taking well advantage over the fact because I've got a lot of friends here who are 80s, even though they were probably born in the 90s, they're 80s babies.
Yeah.
And just absolutely love the stuff. So they will appreciate it just as much as I do.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, but yeah, I can't wait to get up to the Buffalo area. I haven't been there in a while. I think the last time I was up even near there was like 10 years ago when we were passing through on our way to a hockey tournament that we played.
See, I can't wait to go because the last time all three of us are.
Oh, that's right. I was at Nickel City Con.
Yeah. And the last time all four of us came up together or was able to hang out together was when Amy and Darren came down to Red Bank. We came up. So that was the last time we were able to. Well, actually, not the last time because Amy and Darren came down for Pensacon. Yep. So, yeah, it's just last time. But, it's going to be nice to be able to hang out again and enjoy the atmosphere. And quite honestly, as fun as the event's going to be, I'm more looking forward to just spending time with friends and family.
So what you're saying is karaoke is a thing that has to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, Bananarama is one of my favorite singing songs.
Well, you know what? I will sing it with you if you.
Really?
I will massacre that song if you're willing to do it with me.
We can massacre Venus together.
You know what? I'm your Venus and I am your fire.
There you go. We can massacre it together.
Nice.
But no, I mean, it's one of those things where when you come up to these shows, you do these things. Please, anybody who's listening or tuning in, enjoy it. Come up there, and I'll be the first one to tell you. I actually had the opportunity to meet Ming probably about a year or two beforehand. He and I actually talked online a few times, and it was one of those things where I was actually kind of shy to go up there because I didn't want to interrupt him while he was in the middle of talking to somebody else and everything else. So actually, I missed out on probably about a year's worth of getting to know Ming, and when it was just nothing more than my anxiety and my shyness of doing it. Guys, girls, everybody, please come up. If you see us at the show, you see them at a show, you see them out, come up and say hi. Come say, hey, I love watching you on Comic Book Man. I love watching you draw Green Arrow. I love, the Arrow TV show, whatever you want to do. Come up there, talk to them, say at least say hi. Don't make the mistakes that I made, because I lost out on a year's worth of friendship because of it.
That's a year you'll never get back, Scott.
I know.
Well, I can't say this. I'm biased because these guys are like family to me. But what I really like about Decepticon is that it's at someone's house, so there's a more relaxed vibe than you would have at like at a con or at an arena or something like that. Everyone, from the dealers to the guests to whoever, everyone is so approachable. It's a fun time. The last two have been great, and this one is just gonna be even better.
Well, I'm going to use this opportunity for a second to promote my event for a second.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
We have Free Comic Book Day coming up, which
August
I'm sure y'all
14th,
do as
everybody.
well.
August 14th. Mark your calendar right now.
The worst part is actually I've had numerous people ask, like, I'm disappointed Ming's not going to be there. I'm like, well, actually, the same weekend he'll be like 6 hours up the road. But we actually have Free Comic Book Day where we actually have Mike Grohl coming back here.
Yeah.
We also have Mitch Bird, who we were talking about earlier. We have John Dell, who is going to, he's working on Amazing Spider-Man right now and the Sinister War, a few of the other popular books that are out right now. And we have probably about 13 other guests coming down.
Nice.
So anybody wants to come down, please come, enjoy yourself, have a good time. Same thing, talk to the guests. Please get to know them, have a good time. If you're afraid to talk to them, you're doing something wrong. I will be I'm the testament to it. But come in, talk to everybody, have a good time, enjoy yourselves. If you're up in the Buffalo area, Tonawanda area, go to your local comic book shop. If you're in New Jersey, go to the Secret Stash.
Yes.
Go do Free Comic Book Day. If you're in California, whatever comic shop you have there, go do Free Comic Book Day. It is an event. It is a complete opportunity to meet people who like the same things you like. You get free comic books. Come on. How else can you go wrong? Just to start off with, you get free comic books. And you get to hang around with people in the same mindset and likes that you like.
I'm a testament to that, because if it wasn't for Free Comic Book Day, he and I would have never met.
That's true.
How'd that? Wow, this is like Back to the Future stuff.
Look, you could get married at Free Comic Book Day.
Pretty much.
Well, Ming, are you doing anything on Free Comic Book Day?
I'm gonna be at a Comic Con called GeekCon in Shreveport, Louisiana. So I literally will be about 6 hours away from Scott. But
do you want to stay a few days extra?
I should probably head back. Yeah. But I talked to Mike, like he's actually going to take it seriously this year, where in years past they didn't really take it that seriously. So
well, I know Walt. I might speak out. I know Walt. That was never his favorite thing to do.
The words Walt Flanagan and the words free do not go together.
But over the years, Mike and I have actually gotten to be pretty close. We talk to each other probably at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll tell you, anybody else who is in the Red Bank, New Jersey area, y'all go visit. If it's what you expected in the past, it's going to be something completely different. Mike has some good stuff going on.
Yes, he does.
Good stuff planned. The Secret Stash, his like I said, it's going to be, it's the same experience you expected, but better.
Yeah.
Or any experience for that matters. Yeah, in years past, I've seen other stores like yours. You take it like Scott. It's an event. It's a Comic-Con at your store.
Mm-hmm.
I came out. I was like, "Whoa! Well, this is awesome." You had tables. We had artists. We had it was fun, and it was an event where in years past over at the set they would throw the free comic books on a card table. I'm like, all right, limit 1 or whatever it was, and that was pretty much it. And I think Mike has maybe he had a desire to do something bigger. Maybe he learned from guys like Scott.
No, actually, I got to give it to him. Mike everybody has their own ways and different ideas on how to do things, and I'll give Mike. I know you give him shit all the time, but I'll give Mike credit where credit is due. He has some great ideas of what he's wanting to do, and I've actually, I don't get me wrong, I've actually stolen some of the things he's wanted to do.
Amazing.
So I mean, he has transformed the stash of Like I said, the stash has always been a destination to go to, a place to go with your
Yep.
comics. If you're a local around there, even if you're not a local, to order stuff. But Mike Zapsik has actually turned the shop into not only a destination but a home.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Speaking
come
of which,
to New Jersey on August 14th.
I'm gonna go off the rails here.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So,
Geez,
so
what else
Paul,
is new?
So if you do happen to go by the stash, or you
Oh.
come by here at 3 Alarm Comics,
Yeah,
there is an exclusive that is shared with both places.
There is.
that's right.
The Ninjak #1.
Yes. Covered
The cover
drawn.
artwork is done by Walt Zapsik and colored by Thomas Flormonte.
Walt Flanagan. Walt Zapsik works as well.
I'm sorry. Well, sorry. It's done by Walt Flanagan. But there are 3 different versions. There is this one with the trade dress. There is a virgin cover of it, and there is a black and white variant. And they are available at both locations. I will be bringing some with me to go to. I'll bring a handful up to Decepticon. I won't have them at 3D Comics.
Nice.
That because I honestly, if you're gonna come up there and do that, please spend your money with 3D Comics. Let them know you support them. Let you know them to do the thing. But I will bring a handful up there. I won't bring many, but I will bring some up to Decepticon. And then after that, once they're gone, they're gone.
Right. Now, Ming, do you still have the comics that you and Mike were drawn on the cover in the cornfield?
Oh yeah, Mighty Men. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can dig some up. They're very rare. They're dwindling in
And
supply.
actually, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah. And actually, recently the artist gave me some of the original artwork from that. So
Whoa.
yeah, I was at a
Nice.
con in Missouri, and I didn't know he was showing up, but he drove like 4 hours or maybe more to present them to me. And I was like, "Thanks, man." Like, and I was like, "So you hanging out?" I was like, "No, I'm gonna go home now." And he took a spin around the con and then he left. I was like, "Wow, man, okay, that's cool." So
Oh, dedication.
If you would like, I can also bring you up some nice original Ming Chen pint glasses.
oh yeah, you got some of those are dwindling in supply as well. But
Really?
yeah, so
I
it's
think we had 72 done.
Whoa.
yeah.
Nice.
So kiddie pools, exclusive. It's a whole festival, my friend. You're gonna want to come up to either 3D Comics or Decepticon. How does a house party Comic-Con start? Because that's pretty unique. I've never even heard of that before.
Like I had said, it was during 2020 and the COVID, everybody was all locked away, and there were only 2 smaller cons that happened in Buffalo, and that was early on February and March. And as the year started going on and people were restricted to doing what they're doing thanks to Generalissimo Cuomo and his minions, I decided,
The whole bag. Just say how you feel.
I decided, hey, we got to do something, because the desire's out there. People are home. I mean, not even that, but the stimulus checks that people were getting. If they're staying at home, and unless they're eBaying and Amazoning, there's a lot of money to be had. And these people are, they got to feed their desire to get comics. So I came up with the idea of Decepticon, and it's a total draw from the Transformers.
Of course.
But it was also to deceive the powers that be to think that it's actually a garage sale, lawn fate, but it's really 5 dealers selling comics and toys.
Right. That's awesome.
So, and we did it, and it was a fantastic success. There was about 250 people here. And after the fact, people were coming up to me when they would see me on the streets or at comic shows or shops, and they'd be like, "Hey, man, you did that Decepticon. When are you going to do it again?" So I said, "All right, let's do it in June." And then I thought, well, I'll finish it off in June and then wait until next year. But then I thought, it's nice weather and people are really in the mood. I mean, we went down to Pensacon, all 5 of us here, 4 of us here, and you saw how fantastic that was. And Ming, you've been hitting the cons, and every photo and video streams that I'm seeing, people are just like going back at it with a passion. So I thought, let's give Decepticon one more swing, but this time I want to be that uppity little bastard who's just doing a lawn fete, but bring in 2 big names. And
So
like I was telling Mike, like I was telling that. I was telling.
When are you going to start taking investors to make it a bigger show?
Well, that may come up next year because I wouldn't mind bringing in 2 or 3 artists maybe, and maybe doing a once or twice a year event. So we will get to that. But I thought, I'm this little upstart that people love to come here and hang out, and it's just it's a gathering. It's considered a con, but I'm being cheeky about the name.
Sure.
But then I thought, hey, let me get some big names up here, and then people will really go like, oh, hey, hang on a second, this is not what it seems.
Well, that's what I'm asking is, when do we start renting the neighbor's house out next door so we can actually take over their yard too?
Yeah, we'll get a Bruce Wayne like mansion. We'll do it there. I mean, but there'll be a pool. I mean, dude, the sky's the limit here. This is great.
Well, I mean, if we can get the Tell 'em Steve Days guys to come out here and we can do dunk tanks. I mean, that would be. Could you imagine Brian Johnson in a dunk tank?
I would love to. I would be lined up. Give me $100.
I'm spending
I
a lot of
say
money.
that biasly because
Yeah.
Well, that's my big thing too. Honestly, that's one of the big things I miss is a lot of these smaller shows where we actually get to spend time with the guests versus some of the big shows where you're treated like cattle going through.
Right. And that's the thing.
It sounds like that's what y'all are trying to do is actually treat it more like an intimate show where you actually get a chance to talk to and meet the guests that are going to be there. And I see it from both sides of the fence. Having a lot of people, yes, it's great having a show with 100 guests, but it's also nice having a show with 3 or 4 guests where you actually get to talk to, you get to meet, get to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. And, you hit it right on the head. I mean, we all saw how fantastic Pensacon was. But I remember, like, there would be times I'd be coming up to see, Corn or go to visit Ming and it'd be like, oh, he's not at his table. He's running a panel. And, it's understandable because, big shows have to do things in a certain timely fashion and have events. But there's also the laid back effect of, hey man, I'm hanging outside. We got a nice breeze, a great sun. There's cigars and hot dogs going, and we're just chatting like it's like these are human beings. But these are
by the way
heroes.
For Pensacon this year, I'm actually doing something a little different. Which I'm guessing you're coming as well.
I've been invited, so I'll be there.
So this year, I personally am doing something different. I am going to call upon all 3 of you, to help out on this.
Okay.
So this year, I'm going to do something I'm very uncomfortable with is letting control go. I am actually going to help set up our booth.
Okay.
After that, I will not be at our booth till it's time to break down. We will be doing the offensive official Pensacon live stream podcast.
Nice.
The entire weekend. So we will be set up in the same room we were at beforehand.
Cool. Yeah, we have a whole media booth on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
Well, like this last time, but with everything going on, it kind of got. It was an afterthought. So Sundays we started doing it. This year we'll be doing it Friday. I will not be at my booth. I have the guys who I'm going to entrust to run it, and I am going to issue a challenge to the 3 of you. I'm sorry. This will be the first official all weekend long official Pensacon podcast.
Nice.
Good.
Nice.
I want everybody here involved with it whenever possible. We will be doing the live streams. We'll be doing the podcast. We'll be doing everything. And I know I can't do it all myself. I pride myself on surrounding myself with people I trust and love. So who else better than the 3 of you?
Done. Absolutely.
You got it, man. Consider it done.
Grab some fellow guests to come up. Yeah, this will be great.
It was funny because you did have a number of people come into the room. I think you had a couple of wrestlers. You had the gentleman from Good
What's Happening? Yep.
What's Happening? That's right. CJ Cullen was there.
And quite honestly, that guy was incredible.
He was.
Actually, every guest we had come up there they actually stayed way longer than they were supposed to.
Right.
Because the stories they had to tell, they were having so much fun, and be able to tell those stories were just insane.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really think that's the beauty of doing what all of us are doing, Ming in particular. Is the fact that you have a timetable set in mind, but you almost have to throw that out the window when you have a guest that comes in who is telling some wonderful stories, some beautiful stories. Uh, uh, let's say the guy that played Raj on what's happening, especially the Rock and Roll Express that came in. They were bringing people that just walked by into our booth
Yeah.
to tell stories, and it was honestly one of the most wonderful things because I mean I'm a big wrestling fan, but I'm not one of those people that can tell you move by move what happened during their championship match. But and actually the Rock and Roll Express is a perfect example. Those guys came in, they were not only happy to be there and happy to meet their fans, they were happy to tell their story.
Right.
And this is what like all this stuff that we do, all the podcasts we do, everything else. You had somebody there who had an interesting story to tell, was happy to tell it, was happy to be there. And quite honestly, and thank you, Ming, for getting me into doing this stuff.
Yes.
But that weekend, that story alone from the Rock and Roll Express made everything I've done up until that point worthwhile because they gave me something I never would have had before.
Right. I got to ask, I'll put this to Ming. Ming, you've done a lot of panels. Now, I still have a hard time, like if I had to get up in front of a group of people to talk.
Yes.
But when it comes to panels, I mean, how do you prepare for that? I mean, you have to think on your feet.
He imagined himself with that G-string on.
Yeah. No, I mean at that point, that's where it's just almost like recording a podcast with them. You just have an audience, so
Okay.
I would ask, I don't get I don't get the whole hour asking my own questions. You got to give it up for and hopefully the audience will be there to ask questions. But I try to come up with enough of questions to fill out 45 minutes if I have to.
Okay.
And some of them are very general, but some of them I try to get more specific. Most of the time, I try not to ask the same thing that they hear like a million times. So I try to go off of that. I mean, a lot of times I'll check their social media. I was like, "Oh, you got a new dog? Tell me about it." Like, and they'll go, of course, they're gonna go for 20 minutes about their dog, but it's like it's a personal story, and Other than that, if it's someone that I'm a huge fan of course, I'm going to ask my own selfish questions to get it out of the way. But for the most part, the audience then after about 15 minutes, they take over and they run the whole panel for the next 45. So it's not rocket science, but it's fun. It's basically just like we're doing right now. I'm just podcasting with them. For the most part, I've never met them before, so that's kind of cool. You get that kind of interaction.
Right.
But the goal is
word of advice: if you ever have a live auction, get Ming to host it.
That was incredible.
I can tell you this from experience. Ming actually made more money for charity during the auction that he hosted than they had ever done in the 5 years prior.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that. That's great. That's great. I mean, that's some good stuff. So I'm not going to take all the credit, but I'll take a little bit.
Well, no. I mean, the best part is where most people would have ended the auction. You're like, come on, you have to buy it. Come on, somebody wants to do something else. Come on, this is a great piece of artwork. If you're not buying it, you're an asshole. You didn't say that.
Yeah, more or less.
You came pretty close.
I implied it.
But honestly, I do know for a fact that actually this year's auction at the show we were all at was actually one of the best money making shows for charity.
Nice.
That they'd ever done.
All right, cool. Nice. Well, that means I get to come back then. I mean, I'm all for that. But hosting panels is fun, because you never know what you're gonna get, and I think and sometimes you get some pretty huge people too. Like, whoa, this is pretty cool. So, I think the one I was most intimidated by, they're like, hey, will you moderate the Malcolm McDowell panel? I was like, man.
Oh, I'd love to have him, man.
I know, right? But to me, I'm like, dude, that dude killed Captain Kirk, man. Like, Clockwork Orange. Like, he's always like kind of a mean, gruff. He portrays that mean, gruff guy. But at the panel, he was anything but. He was busting my balls. He was making fun of me. He was having a good time, and that's, I mean, at the end, that's the goal. Is because I know a lot of these guys. They're being taken away from their table for an hour, which means they're not making money for that hour.
Very
For
true.
the most part, it's an obligation. It's written in their contract, so they're like, all right, can we just get this over with?
They got guarantees.
Sure, but my goal is like, let's have fun. You're here, your audience loves you. Let's make this fun, and so that's what I try to do.
All right, so I got
Well,
another thing.
and
for you.
honestly, most of the time, and I find it odd you say that because a lot of times the panels actually end up making them more money on the tail
sure.
end because
Right.
people show up at the panels to see whatever is going on, and like, oh my god, I love this guy. Then they'll go spend money when they normally never would have.
Yeah, man, yeah, for sure.
Now,
Absolutely.
the one thing that you had done too is that you were a judge at the costume or the cosplay contest.
Yeah.
I know James Murray from Impractical Jokers was. So we never asked you, but who did you vote for? Do you remember who you voted for in Pensacon? The cute girl. Who was it?
No. I have it written down on my phone somewhere. But I mean, I went for the legit good costumes. Now, in years past, I'll admit, when it was me and Mike, we're like, well, when we pick, we would go. It's like, oh, well, that Khaleesi looks awesome. So, yeah.
Which honestly, I have to actually issue an apology to both you and Amy. When y'all were down here, whenever Brian was here, I actually had assumed that y'all had met Brian before.
Oh hell!
I mean, I've known Brian quite a few. I mean, me and Brian have known. Actually, I've probably known Brian longer than I've known Ming.
Whoa!
But I actually kind of assumed that you two had known him before. So the fact I didn't introduce you and everything else, I actually kind of owe you two an apology because I was just. It was kind of an assumption. I had no idea.
You know what? I will always remember it. It was literally the last day before I turned 38. So my last day of being 37 was when I had met Brian O'Halloran and got to meet Dante.
And he crank called our friend here.
Yeah.
That Amy was in jail. But I'll tell you what, he is, to his testament and his podcast and everything else, he is the most, aside from present company here, the most down-to-earth guy you can just start talking to. So we didn't even need a formal introduction. These are the guys from Buffalo, and he said, "Oh, you're the ones who brought the bad weather." And then we just started talking like we knew him forever. And meanwhile, we go to the restaurant. What is it? Puff Bellies. And I'm just chatting with him, saying, "Hey, dude, you do gaming," and he starts talking, and it's like I knew the guy forever. So
that's
it was like you didn't even need to be introduced. It was just like you knew them all forever.
And I will tell you, that's the wonderful thing about most of the people in the BSQ universe. Actually, honestly, I haven't met anybody personally that I've ever had a bad experience with. Between Brian, Ming, Mike, Scott Schiaffo, who is also an incredible individual. I know he's had his issues in the past, but I will tell you that right now. I've had numerous conversations privately with Scott. Scott's actually one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Wow.
And one of the best things I love is Scott's also a musician. So any podcaster who is out there, if you go online and buy any of his stuff, any of his music, when you buy the stuff, you're actually buying the rights to use it for anything you're doing.
Wow. That's impressive.
So if you buy one of his DVDs, you're buying the rights to using it for your podcast, for your live stream, for whatever you're doing. And like I said, I don't know Scott as well as probably Ming does, but I'll tell you, I mean, like I said, to me, he's always been one of the nicest guys. And,
super great guy.
One of the only guys I've ever met is Kevin, but I will tell you this: the funny thing is I don't have aspirations to meet Kevin. Honestly, if I ever met him, it'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But quite honestly, I like going up there. If I'm going to New Jersey and doing all this stuff, I'm going to go hang out with you two and Ming and Mike and Brian and Scott or whoever else is up there.
Right.
Quite honestly, there's not been a single person, though, in the BSQ universe that has been even a remotely unpleasant experience. Now, granted, I haven't met Brian Johnson yet, but but everybody in the entire that it's almost one of those things where Kevin surrounds himself with people who are good.
Right. it's testament to the person that he is, you know. So, and to shine a little light on Ming here too. I mean, you know, you started with Smodco, right? And you were there as like the man who set up the page, and all of a
actually,
sudden,
I've done some research. Ming actually started doing some billboards for Clerks.
oh wow, okay. And
not that far back, but I came right before Chasing Amy. That's when I came in. So
right.
I'm sorry. Well, Kevin Smith, but you started off doing before the internet went crazy. You were doing billboards and you
websites and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was a big fan. So,
but you are probably, in my opinion, one of the hardest working guys, because
oh, thanks, man.
I mean, I gotta think that like in 10 minutes you're gonna be bolting down to the Bell Works.
I'm at Bell Works now. I do have to go to the Eatontown studio in like 45 minutes.
See?
Yeah, sure.
No, actually, I'm telling you right now, Ming is actually, out of everybody I've ever met, Ming is probably one of the most, and I'm sorry, I'm going to embarrass you for a second, is probably one of the most appreciative people of how he got to where he is.
Yes.
He's not pretentious or stuck up. And what I tell people all the time, if you watch comic book men, what you see on screen is who these people are.
Right.
Nobody is acting. They have their certain roles to play, but nobody is acting.
Right.
Ming is actually Mike, Brian, and like I said, had the opportunity to meet Walt. All of them are actually who you think they are from watching that show.
Very much so. Very much so. And another testament to how great Ming is, he just celebrated a birthday. You would have thought that they just voted in another pope, because every time I had something up on my news feed, it was somebody wishing him a happy birthday. I swear, it littered 90%.
That was the funniest part. Actually, I scheduled something for that day. And I messaged him like, dude, like an hour beforehand. I was like, dude, I forgot it was your birthday. I didn't realize it was your birthday. I said, if you want to reschedule, that's cool. He's like, yeah, let's do it Wednesday.
That's
Like,
cool.
all right, that's cool.
Yeah, let's do it. Whatever, Tuesday. Yeah. But, the plume of colored smoke went up for sure. And announced it was my birthday.
But that's the biggest thing is, everybody says, it's to never meet your heroes because you'll be ashamed for it. Right. But I'll tell you right now, I'll give it to you, Ming.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, come on.
Thanks.
I mean, growing up, if you go back and look at some of the older texts, it was one of those things where I was fanboying talking to you. Now I shoot the shit with you.
Yeah. I really shouldn't be anybody's hero, but thank you very much.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's the same thing. And I'll put it again. So if you're coming up to Buffalo, the Tonawanda area, Mike Grell was one of my heroes. Then once I finally got to know him, you realize these people are just real people.
That's it.
And enjoy yourself. Don't be scared to go talk to him. Like I said, don't be scared like I was to go talk to Ming. Don't think you're going to interrupt them. They're appreciative of it just as much as I would be if somebody said, "Hey, you own 3 Alarm Comics?" They'd be like, "You know that place?" I'm sorry, but I mean, that's the biggest thing is, don't be scared to shoot your shot.
That's right.
Don't be scared to go up there and talk to them, because you know what, the biggest question you'll ever have in your life is what if.
Yes. Exactly. Whoops, sorry.
As opposed to the Marvel series, what if? What y'all know. But the biggest regret you'll ever have in your life is what if. Don't never ask yourself, what if I would have done this? Because, like I said, for me, I think all the time, like, what if I would actually talk to Ming a year earlier? We probably would have we have a great relationship now,
right?
But we could have had that relationship a year earlier.
So true. So true.
Well, think about it. We never took that trip to Jersey and went into the stash, and we would have never connected with Scott.
That's right. That's
right. I mean, same thing. We all happened to be up there at the same time. I mean, it worked out great. But we all got along between me, you, Amy, Joseph, Ray. We all got along phenomenally well. To me, the only thing I can say, which is what if, is I almost wish I would have had the relationship I had with Mike that I do now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't know Mike as well. I knew Mike from doing live streams, but I didn't know Mike as well. Now I probably talk to Mike just as much as I do Ming.
Yeah, that's cool.
So now, Ming, you've got some appearances coming up pretty soon, right? Isn't there a con coming up soon? Or
I do. I right at this very moment, I was supposed to be in the midst of a 10-day con in San Antonio that unfortunately got canceled because of
that's
COVID.
right. Yeah.
But I do want to give them a shout for inviting me for such a pretty a grand venture, which unfortunately didn't work out. I appreciate the fact that they even tried this though, which is insane. So yeah, Ewan McGregor was going to come out, and Owen Wilson and Hayden Christensen,
Oh,
and a lot more other people. It was going to be fun. But onward and upward, right? So
right.
I'll be at GeekCon in Shreveport, Louisiana, the 14th and 15th. I believe those are the dates. And then
weekend.
Yeah. Weekend. Then after that, I get to go home to Ann Arbor, Michigan, and I'll be at Astronomicon 4, which is a really cool pop culture, rock and roll horror convention in Michigan, which is a great show. It's a really cool.
After that, we will be in Tonawanda.
That's right. Yeah, 3D Comics, and we'll be at Decepticon 3 after that. Then the week after is Dragon Con, which
Atlanta.
Yep, Atlanta, Dragon Con. And I don't know if they have announced this yet. So if you're looking, maybe if you're near the Lexington area, I'll be returning to the Lexington Toy and Comic Con, which is a phenomenal show. Scott, my Speedo 8x10 is hanging in the dive bar in Lexington with a house rule saying no orange Speedos at the Chevy Chase Inn.
Then when Ming has a free weekend, we will have him back down here because he and I have talked to him.
Yeah,
we need to get him down here for at least a day so we can enjoy the times other than the day.
Sure.
So here's my proposition. Duff's has a photo, of course, of Obama.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
We can get a picture of Ming Chen in a Speedo right next to it. Signed.
That has to be done.
Yes.
I mean, I'd be honored to be inside of Buffalo's greatest, wing joint for sure.
The original.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you and a Speedo next to Obama.
Yes.
Hey,
I mean, I think my mom would be proud. I think maybe, no guarantees, but yeah, maybe she would be.
Hey, when are you gonna podcast with her? Have her on sometime, and get to learn a little bit more about little Ming when he was a kid running around.
Actually, I've seen a lot of the videos he's done with his mom, and they're actually incredible. But I don't think you've actually done anything live with your mom, have you?
Yeah.
No, not live. No, not live. No. But I have one with my dad that I got to put up too that I recorded a year or so ago. So,
well, anybody watching, if you're in our local area, contact us to do any live podcasting or streaming.
Yeah, they're set up.
3 Alarm Comics. We are a division of the Shared Universe. If you are anywhere else in the world, contact Ming over at shareduniverse.com. and let them know. You could get Ming, you could get Mike, you can do something on your own, you can book your own podcast. If it's something you just want to try, you want to figure out something you want to venture into, see how it's going to go, a Shared Universe is the place to go to. Whether it be there or here, that is the place to go to.
Yeah, hopefully everywhere soon.
Well, once Scott comes down, he's going to stay here an extra day. I know you'll be heading back home, but Scott's going to be here until Monday, and he's going to show us the ropes. So we'll be an affiliate of Shared Universe.
And we will be podcasting. We will do live streams and podcasts from Decepticon 3.
That's right.
In Tonawanda, New York. This will be happening. You do have your own. You have your own.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yep.
Last time we were there,
They got a board. They got Mike. Yeah, they're all set up, man.
You have your own camera. You have your own webcams.
Yep, got a high definition camera. Ready to
I'll
rock.
tell you right now, we will be. I'll tell you right now, we'll be sharing it from 3 Alarm Comics. We'll be sharing it from anywhere else I can choose to share it from. But there will be live streams. There will be podcasts with Ming Chen, with Mike Grell, with Amy and Darren from Pressing Matters. And it will be happening from New York. So tune in, tune out, have a good time, enjoy yourselves. I can promise this one thing that many inappropriate things will be said, probably on my behalf. But y'all come in and have fun. Y'all enjoy it. Please have fun with it. That's the biggest part, is just have fun.
Absolutely. It's free admission to have a blast. Doesn't get better than that, man.
If you can't attend, tune in.
Right.
And if you are a vendor, you can contact Pressing Matters LLC.
That's
if
right.
You want table space, we're not charging for that as well.
You have a table, you have a pop-up
Really?
canopy, you have a spot on the lawn.
So if I load my backpack with shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God. Y'all are
Oh, free table. How could you pass that up?
Exactly.
Okay. This is going to be great.
That's all going to change soon. So take advantage now before Decepticon becomes the next big thing.
That's right. Catch it in its infancy when it's
get in now, or you can lock in for that free rate.
Right.
Sign a contract, let it go. Enjoy yourself. But
right.
Let's see. Hold on. So we have I'm going to pull up a few comments here.
Very good.
Let Ming go to bed and fully recover from his birthday.
Stop it,
He's not a performing monkey.
Thank you for your concern. I am a performing monkey, and I fully recovered from.
Rafe White says Ming will stand in line at Chick-fil-A for an hour.
Cool.
He has picks.
Absolutely, I will.
Well, guys, everybody, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Ming. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Darren, for being a part of this.
I can't wait.
Everybody who's want to come in, please, if you're in the New York area, please go to 3D Comics and Decepticon up in the Buffalo area. If you're around for free comic book day, go to the Secret Stash, go to 3D Comics, come here to 3 Alarm Comics, enjoy yourselves. No matter where you're at, go to your local comic shop, enjoy yourself, have fun, get your free comics, enjoy the experience, enjoy everybody they have there, enjoy the shop, go back, spend money at the shops, have fun. More than anything, just enjoy yourself.
Absolutely.
Guys, if y'all have anything else y'all want to promote, you have left, please feel free to do so.
No, we're good, Ming. You got anything?
No, I think I just promoted like every con I'm going to from now until.
Well, the last thing I am going to promote is, please, if you want to do your own live streams or podcasts, go to ashareduniverse.com.
Amen.
And go on there. You can book your own time. These guys actually take care of everything from production to in quality, depending on what you want. If there's something you ever wanted to do, but something you didn't want to do, and you want to take a chance, please do so. ashareduniverse.com. Pressing Matters LLC. Anything you want to get your comics done, you want to get them pressed, you want to get them clean, go visit these guys. I will personally attest to the quality of the stuff that they do.
Thank you.
Like I said, tomorrow I'll be posting pictures. I meant to, but tomorrow I'll be posting pictures of the books that I have had sent up there. Anybody else, thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for being part of it. Thank you, everybody watching. We've enjoyed it.
Yes, it was a blast, man.
All right. Well, I'm going to end things now and love you all.
Love you too.